Okay, so on today's episode of Rare, I am joined by Lisa Deschamps, who is CEO at Aviado Bio, a company on a mission to rewrite the future of families living with neurodegenerative disease. So welcome, Lisa. Before we delve into Aviado Bio, could you tell us a little bit about your own journey so far?
Sure. And hi, Laura. Thank you for having me on today. Yeah, so before I joined Aviado Bio, I spent over 25 years at Novartis, which was an amazing journey, my first entry into pharmaceuticals. And my last few years at Novartis, I was leading our Novartis neuroscience business, both in the US and global. And then my team led an acquisition of a company called Avexis, which was a CNS gene therapy company. And I had the real privilege, after doing the acquisition and the integration, in going over to lead the worldwide commercialization of the acquired portfolio, which mainly in the short term was a program for SMA, spinal muscular atrophy, a product called Zolgensma, and had the privilege to see the effect that a gene therapy like Zolgensma can have, not only on individual patient or family, but really on a community at large. And that for me was the most transformational role I had ever had in my career, to see such an impact, on these patients, and that's really what led me here to Aviado. I wanted the opportunity to do more of this in a much bigger way.
Yeah, great. And then 25 years at Novartis. Wow. What motivated you then about Aviado Bio to take that leap into biotech?
Yeah, great question. For me, going into biotech was more of a when versus an if. I always thought I would end up in something a bit more entrepreneurial. But obviously, being in a large global organization like Novartis, where the opportunities are endless, really kept me there for a long time, and kept me really interested, and gave me such amazing vast experience, both from a breadth and a depth perspective, domestically and internationally. My kind of entry, or my attraction to Aviado, was very much, again, having just come off personally witnessing these effects that gene therapies like Zolgensma can have on the community. I wanted the opportunity to be a part of those scientific breakthroughs in the future. And I met Professor Chris Shaw. He's one of the main scientific founders at Aviado, and had a listen on the important work that he was doing in a very novel and innovative way to really solve some of the most complex challenges that exist today in neuroscience. And it just inspired me tremendously. And I signed up and joined. It was a huge risk to go from a more established and comfortable career on the big pharma side of the world, to kind of dive in to a startup at the time that had only 12 employees and less than 6 months on the runway. So and it's been an amazing journey ever since.
Yeah, well, it's clearly paying off. But partnerships and collaborations are key in biotech. So can you share some of the most significant deals or collaborations Aviado Bio has established, and what they mean for the company's strategy?
Sure. One of the things that I would say is, partnerships for not only Aviado, I think for all of us, are really at the core of everything we do. My personal experience at Novartis had really shown me that, to get these therapies not only through the development cycle, regulatory, but then onto the market, into the hands of actual patients and families who need them, takes a village and a tremendous collaborative effort to make all of those things come true. And so partnerships are really at the core of the work we do. We see partnerships as the opportunity to enable us to get these into the hands of patients the quickest. So in October of last year, we announced our first major partnership with Astellas. As you know, Astellas is a global pharma player. And they have an option for a worldwide exclusive license for our lead program in FTD. And with the collaboration and like-minded culture of Astellas, We really believe that it's a validation of the important work that we were doing and the opportunity to really bring a therapy like our FTD program into the hands of patients, but also it will enable us to be able to do this faster, better, and more globally for patients in need. So that's just one example. We also have recently announced another partnership with a company called Eugenics. Eugenics is a company where we partnered a program in optogenetics. So this is for inherited retinal disorders. It's currently in the clinic in retinitis pigmentosa, and we're looking at it in other indications as well. And there we have an option to further license in this technology.
Yeah, great. Well, congratulations on the new collaboration. Just on the clinical side, Aviado Bio has been advancing some exciting programs. So could you walk us through the most important milestones that you've reached so far?
Yes. So for us, our ambition over the last several years has been to bring 3 programs into the clinic by 2027. And so we're well on our way with 2 out of 3 already in the clinic. So for our lead program, AVB101, this is an investigational therapy for patients who have FTD, frontal temporal dementia. These patients have a mutation in their GRN gene. So it's a monogenic form of FTD. And our goal there is to restore progranulin levels to as close to normal as possible. And we are well on our way. So we treated our very first patient in March of 2024, and we're now in the 3rd cohort of our phase 1/2 trial. So key milestones coming up in the new year will be in 2026 releasing the data on how the trial is going. It's an open label phase 1/2, so primary endpoint is of course safety, but we will obviously be following the patient for beyond safety for other important markers of potential functional improvement for these patients. So that's our lead program. And then on our 2nd and 3rd program, so in AVB307, which is our program for inherited retinal disorders that we just talked through as being partnered, that will be, again, it's first in human at the moment as well. So, at some point by the end of next year for sure, we'll be coming up to kind of proof of concept clinically. Is this a program that can work for patients and really work to restore vision loss? And then our 3rd program is based on a proprietary microRNA gene silencing platform that we have developed in-house over the last several years. And our first indications for this program are in tauopathies. So there we get into much larger disease areas like Alzheimer's. And so the target there is MAPT. Looking at Alzheimer's, MAPT, FTD, and other potential drivers of neurodegenerative diseases. We will get into tox studies next year, and then hopefully first in human early by 2027. So it's an exciting time for us. We're well on our way to really bring that vision of 3 programs in the clinic and ultimately one day into the hands of patients, by 2027. So that's where we're at the moment. Very exciting.
Yeah, great. It is very exciting. What can we expect from Aviado Bio moving forward into 2026 and then beyond?
Yes, absolutely. So for us, we are heads down, fully focused on executing these programs to a place where we can move them all through to these next major milestones that we just talked through. Our goal is that, the quicker we can get these through the clinical development program and the important regulatory milestones, we can get them into the hands of patients. And so for us, that's our North Star. We never lose sight of that. And so we are heads down, focused, planning for success. And obviously we'll take anything that comes our way on the twist and turn side.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you, Lisa, so much for taking the time to give us some insights into Aviado Bio. It sounds very exciting, so we'll be keeping an eye on the news releases in the future. But thanks so much for taking the time to feature on Rare.